Sit back, strap in, and get ready for After Hours with TC Restani. This is Abigail Harwich, executive producer, welcoming you to the show. And now, TC Restani!
Welcome to the After Hours of TC Restani, the podcast. I'm TC Restani, emanating from the palatial podcast penthouse, and I'm going to go around the horn right now and introduce my panel of experts. Starting off right now over here, the man who loves milk, the one and the only, the QB himself, Quincy Briscoe. What's going on, QB?
I just listened to some golden oldies with a very important friend of mine.
It was very important. It was before the show. We would roll tape. You listened to some great classics from Neil Sedaka, right?
Yep. That's right.
Fantastic.
What was that song? Not
Bad Blood.
Bad Blood. I never heard it before.
Never heard it before. You of all people who ran the jukebox.
Now, if the jukebox was still alive, I would open the next episode with Bad Blood.
But we don't have it.
No.
Speaking of someone who has bad blood, we're talking about South Boston Jeff.
Hey, what's happening? It's going pretty good here. I'm in an okay mood. Little PO'd at Quincy because, like after our second cookout of the year and everything, and I bring the American chop suey. Maybe I'll give the recipe at the end of the show or something. But and then Quincy makes me sit through Jaws 4, The Revenge.
Well, this time,
don't let. All right, yeah, you sinister laugh. You're like, well, I brought over nothing but trouble, and I thought it was going to be a fun night.
Yeah,
we were already into it, and he was like, "No, this is the one where the shark goes after Chief Brody's wife and chases her all the way to the Jamaica." And then everybody's creating
So you
walks out
never
of the
watched
room.
Nothing But Trouble?
no, we didn't. No, because it was nothing but trouble.
I'm sorry.
And speaking of someone who's always in trouble in a good way,
Yeah.
the one and the only Ricky Bittman.
That's a shame. That would have been my choice, Jeff. We would have had a two-way vote there.
No, I would have sided with you
I'm
guys.
sorry. Then
No,
you-
trust me, I would have.
Would it have mattered? I don't think we could have.
No, it wouldn't, because we would have had. You think dealing with the shark would have been a problem?
Well, we were already 10 minutes in before I tried to grab the remote and everything, but it wasn't going to happen then.
Yeah, once you get 10 minutes into Jaws,
You gotta see this.
No, you got to see the greatest scene, and that's the beginning where the shark kills Sean. And all right,
No, the best scene is at the end when he has flashbacks of Chief Brody.
Smile, you son of a bitch.
Wait a minute, the shark had flashbacks?
Yes, it would have been better. But moving on, we're not talking about Jaws anymore, all right? We're sick and tired. Our Jaws is sick and tired of you talking about Jaws. You have some interesting tidbits over there,
Yeah,
Ricky.
I was, how every time, we always say, well, geez, what do we want to talk about tonight? We usually end up coming up with some
We usually
things.
come up, most of the time, it's Smoking the Bandit, Jaws,
Jaws,
and
or food.
Food or whatnot.
So I kind of just did a little search around on the internet, and I come up with these things. So I'll give you a couple generics to start with, and then I tailored these type of questions to us.
Tailored, though.
Yes, I
So
tailored
you're the
them.
tailor-made man.
Blew it up. All right, here's the first one.
Here's the first question.
And everyone takes a shot at the answer for this. Okay?
Perfect.
And it's not a knowledge question, it's just a preference, okay?
All right.
Would you rather travel 100 years into the future or 100 years into the past?
Okay, so you know what? I'm curious to see what QB has to say
Me too.
first. So Quincy, if you had the opportunity of traveling 100 years in the future and 100 years in the past, where would you
Future.
go? Or why would you go to the future?
Because the past is the past. You can always go back and listen to golden oldies, but remember the past probably had some bad times too. Whereas maybe if you can go into the future and try to prevent these things from happening, try to get some more answer keys.
Well, if you travel into the future, how are you going to make things stop happening? That's the
Yeah.
future. You have to go to the past to do that.
No, look at the data. Just look up and once in a while look at the clips of the data, and then I don't want that to happen, but bring me some more of this. And then
Makes perfect sense to me.
then say, yeah, give me some more of this. Give me some more good people. Because
But aren't you afraid that you go into the future, you might not know what you're going to get? I mean, it could be.
What if they outlawed milk in the future?
Yeah.
If milk was now, like a drug.
Cows are totally extinct in the
Right.
future.
What are you gonna do?
And
find
humans
something
are.
that's as close as possible to milk.
And they're apes running the planet. I mean, you
Yeah,
know,
what's the closest thing to milk? I mean, other than like almond milk or something.
I'll cross that bridge when I come to it.
But you have to. You're in the future. You have no way of getting back.
Well, I'll have to find some that's closest thing. That probably won't be almond milk, but
Coconuts.
I never tasted coconut milk. But let alone where can you get coconut milk?
From a coconut?
yeah.
Now,
Squeeze a Twinkie enough, you could probably get it out of that. All right, so there's Quincy Briscoe's answer. South Boston Jeff, where you going? Forward or backwards?
I think I would probably have to go backwards because I already have the information on the future, and I could start whatever business. It would be much easier for me to become successful in the past with all the information on the future that I
So
have.
you do a Gray Sports Almanac a la Biff Tannen.
Yes, yeah. There's a lot of betting to be done now that you mentioned it. That was in the back of my mind. But like Quincy said, when you say going into the future, I thought of Stallone and Demolition Man. You know, how much am I really going to enjoy it in the future? Is marijuana going to be legal? Is it I'm putting myself into a world I know nothing about. I mean, it will be great if they have robot prostitutes and things like that. But
They already have those now.
but prostitution is the oldest pastime in history. So if the opportunity ever arose, I'd say I would go back into the past.
Unbelievable. And Anna, you were a fan of Taco Bell, like they did in Demolition Man.
Sure.
All right, Ricky Bittman.
I'm with Jeff on this one. I would definitely go into the past. And just now, I cheated and I kind of Googled up some facts about 1924.
1924. That's 100 years ago.
Country only had 48 states before we allowed Hawaii and Alaska. And it made me think of that Archie Bunker episode where he goes, I hung out my flag this morning, the one with 48 states before we got Alaska and Hawaii. So I always thought it was
That
funny.
happened in the 60s, right?
Yes, 50s.
50s.
Hawaii became a state in the 50s. I remember that episode of Happy Days. Where
So it wasn't a state when Pearl Harbor was attacked?
I don't think so, no.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's just an island we dock boats at.
Yeah, you're right.
So how could they declare war on America when it wasn't really America?
Because they attacked American citizens.
Okay, they attacked American citizens, but they could have done that in,
Well, because
Ireland.
Japan is right there, and then Hawaii, and then the U.S. They would have had to fly double the distance to get to California to do it.
There we go. Okay.
They were close. Japan was that much I know. I'm not
was
good at geography.
geographically perfect.
Exactly, and there was a naval base there.
So what else happened in 1924?
A dollar was worth nearly $18 today, so money was good back then. Gas was 13 cents per gallon. Wheaties had just been invented. The Statue of Liberty was designated as a national monument, and the first Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade was held. So it was kind of like a quaint
It
time.
was.
And like Jeff was saying, so it's 1924, and if you had some knowledge, you could place some pretty heavy bets on some sporting teams and things like that.
You could.
Yeah,
You know.
try to avoid some serious Holocaust from coming. You know?
Exactly. You know, you
Try
could
to,
thwart some terrible.
But if you changed everything, who says you could travel back? What if it
that
screwed
wasn't
up
part
the
of the
space-time
question.
continuum?
That
you know?
was just-
There are rules to this time travel.
yeah,
game.
no, there is.
I myself would also travel back.
Yeah.
I'm the guy who wants to go back to the 80s.
Right.
It'd be kind of closer to the 80s than, well, technically.
Then 100 years from now.
Than 100 years from now. I would definitely want to go back there because I would want to see. Not that I'm fascinated by history, but I like things the way they were.
Yeah.
And that was where things the way I grew up with started.
Yeah.
You know, it was the television was in its infancy.
Yeah.
I mean, well, actually, it wasn't even around yet, but I'm saying radio was in its infancy.
Yeah.
And all these great new inventions. It's like when we were the kids in the 1980s. We got cable TV, revolutionary.
Yeah.
Video games, revolutionary.
Yeah.
You know, Walkmen and everything like that. So stuff would have come out, and you would have been excited about it.
Yeah.
So I would definitely travel back.
Yeah, because like I said, when you get to the 100 years from now, humans could be the enemy, you know?
Could be.
Could be like lizards walking around just eating humans.
Flea
on
stacks.
slice. Yeah.
Lizards.
So,
It could have been
you
like
got balls, Quincy. I'll tell you that for going in and fearless.
Quincy, I think you should leave right now. We'll see you in 100.
So I thought that was kind of interesting.
That is
Yeah.
a great thing.
Hey, now that we're kind of on the subject of time travel, I want to mention something. I was watching Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure today.
It's
and,
excellent.
yeah, sure. Always a classic and everything. But so do you remember at the end when Rufus came back with the babes from England and he said, well, I rescued them right before they had to marry those royal ugly dudes. Oh, most outstanding, Rufus. Well, why didn't they rescue Joan of Arc from her fate?
Because she had to die. Because she was
that part of his- like
she was
a-
an historical figure. No one cared about the two English babes. You know, one of them being Karen from The Last American Virgin. Because she had a destiny fulfilled. It was
yeah.
like in Back to the Future 3 when Clara Clayton was supposed to die in the ravine.
You have
and
to,
Doc,
yeah,
and
you
Doc
have to-
saved her so he could,
I would
marry
say,
her.
like, I don't, yeah, and who knows everything about those phone booths, but I think one of the rules is you can't alter history with it. And Rufus knows that you can't alter history and everything, but I think you're right about those.
Well, he didn't alter history because they were going to be in the band.
That's right.
They were destined to be in the Wild Stallions.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
he actually
you're right.
just made history quicker.
Yeah,
That's all it was.
sure.
So
And,
you're against interacting with the time continuum.
Not really.
I was going to say, because your favorite movie there, he does a lot of fucking with the time
Well, it does.
continuum.
It does, and it doesn't. I mean, yeah, it does. But he had to change. He had to make his father, be confident, or he would never been born because he changed that alternate timeline. But I don't, things like that. What if you went back in time and you stopped, Hitler before this and whatnot? How do you know that one of the people who were killed in World War II wouldn't become the next Hitler?
Huh?
You don't
There's
know.
always going to be a Hitler coming along.
There's always
you know?
going to be someone ruining the fun. So it just, you have to let it, you observe. Like in Star Trek First Contact, when they went back in time with the Borg and whatnot, and at the end of the movie, Captain Picard was going to blow up the Enterprise and whatnot. He goes, here, give this to my crew and tell them to stay out of history's way. So
get you.
there you go.
I would go back in time and take the tambourine out of the hands of the guy that played the tambourine at the Elvis 68 special. Because he ruined the audio on the whole thing. All you hear is that tambourine.
You sure you wouldn't go back in time and push Yoko Ono out of the way when she was singing with Chuck Berry and John Lennon?
I would have given Chuck a cattle prod.
Actually, what I would have done is I would have Manchurian Candidate, Mark David Chapman to shoot her.
Yes, there you go. Yeah. I never thought she was standing right there.
Yeah.
Why go for the Beetle? You know?
Right, didn't you see the thing with Johnny Be Good? Just get rid of her.
I shouldn't say that. You know who's very popular on X? You should follow him. He's really interesting. He's John Lennon's son, Sean Lennon.
Right.
And stands up for himself a lot. And people seem to think that they know what his father was like, and he's trying to say, well, this is what my father was. But he's very outspoken on X. Really interesting person to follow on X.
Well, how old was he when his dad got wasted?
He was a little kid. Yeah, he was.
So how do you really know your father?
Well,
that
I mean,
young
his
of an
writings,
age?
what his mother told him, and things
She'd
like
be
that.
lying. She could have one who said she could have
He
been.
defends his mother a lot.
She
I
could have
was
been the
just
one that set up Mark David Chapman the whole time.
No,
She want the whole thing.
he loved Yoko.
What, did she love him?
We'll never know.
Well, we have a machine, we can find out. Great question, though, Ricky Bittman.
Yeah, so I figured, all right, and I got another one for you that's sort of in the normal. Then we'll go into a couple of different ones.
All righty.
All right. Would you rather never listen to music or never be able to read another book?
Okay, I got to answer this one.
Okay.
Never be able to read another book.
Really?
I'm not a fan of reading.
Yeah.
I like watching.
Okay. See, I like reading,
Right.
But I would have to go with me. I'd
Right,
have
you
to
have a
go
show
with
called The
music.
Ricky Bittman Jukebox.
Because I
for
like to
all
say, Bruce Springsteen had a line in the song called "No Surrender." We learn more from a 3-minute record than we ever could in school, and I believe
that. 100%.
you could, and so I would take. Sometimes I take little bits of songs, and I get little stories out of them.
Right.
I interpret them in my head. So that's all. So I would forego reading as much as I would never be able to read.
See,
Kill a
music
monk.
makes you do things.
Yeah.
Reading doesn't.
And you can do other things while music is playing.
relaxes you.
Yeah.
And,
And it
like,
excites you. You
Right.
need it to be.
When you're working out, you need the music.
Yeah,
You
it
can sit
calms
there and
you
read a
down.
book.
Yeah.
Some people do, but just not me.
But no one like one of my favorite books is To Kill a Mockingbird. I'd still be able to watch the movie.
Right.
So I guess, but I mean,
We met Atticus Finch.
Gregory Peck.
We did meet him, yeah. We found out Jerry Pearlswick was left-handed that day.
Oh, one of my favorite stories.
Jerry, are you left-handed? How did you know?
What about you guys?
Oh, I'll have to agree with you about music. Music is the way I love to read and everything, but reading just doesn't help me relax, and doesn't I throw a record on every moment just to get my brain going. You know,
Yeah.
I need music to get going and
me too.
to relax, and it's just it's the way. Music is the way.
I think we already know the answer to
Yeah,
this
I
one.
think
but
so,
Go
too.
ahead, Quince. Would you rather have music or reading?
You just said to yourself, you already got your answer, Kate. You got your
You bet your record I'm going to listen to music.
That's right.
You're the music man. Not only are you the milkman, but you are the music man as well.
That's right. Gotta have it.
So-
Motivation.
Sorry, Riff, reading is fundamental.
Yeah.
How'd you get so smart? Reading.
Yeah, watching TV.
Reading
I
is-
read the end credits.
To make these
See
kids
if I remember
wanna
it.
read.
Or write riff, box 23044, Washington, D.C. Hey, you're pretty smart. How'd you get so smart? Reading.
Me and Mike.
Frickin' those were for some friggin' ugly kids, I'll
Yeah.
tell you.
Me and Mikey B from Southie used to say that to each other all the time.
I mean, back in that Riff commercial, that kid got that book, ran off the truck, went down by some dirty river in New York
Yeah.
to read some book that he stole.
Yeah, the 5 Chinese brothers.
To a kid, the world is a closed book, but the Riff truck has lots of books who make these kids want to read for keeps, and it works. Won't you help? Please send a donation to Rift box, whatever the address.
23044, Washington, D.C.
You're pretty smart.
The only time I got excited about books is when the book fair came in elementary school.
Oh, yeah.
You had like $6 in your pocket,
Yeah.
and you get like the Star Wars coloring book
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
That was great.
They had the little Mad Magazine novellas and everything.
Oh,
like
those were great.
yeah, like all the best of Doc Martin or
Yes.
something like that. Or
And not only did they have a commercial like that, but they had an old school commercial. This is the captain speaking. Come on, Earth. The
Yeah.
Museum of Science.
Museum of Science.
Yeah, well,
Where it's fun to find out.
Yeah.
where it's fun to find out, but today's world, do kids go to the Museum of Science?
Yes,
Do
they do.
They do not.
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
What, field
listen.
trips?
No.
Do they?
A friend of mine has a couple of grandkids. They would go to the Museum of Science every single day. They take them over there. The place is packed.
Really?
Yes.
I haven't been to the Museum of Science since.
It's
Well,
thriving.
we drove by it the other night on the way back from Veggie Galaxy, but
That's true,
yeah,
that's
the dinosaur is outside now, the
Yes.
T-Rex.
well, they have a new one inside, from what I was told.
Yeah, because that one doesn't represent what a real Tyrannosaurus looks like or something. They were
So now
saying.
it's just where you get the duck boat tours.
Yeah.
Meet up at the dinosaur.
See at the dinosaur, like
Meet-
the one on Route 1.
Meet up at Rex. Great question.
Yeah, so, all right, now, there's a few more like that, but all right, so let me do this. I have 3 more.
Well, let's hear them.
Now, we'll start with an easy one.
Okay.
Would you, the lighter of the 3, would you rather be a Clampett, a Munster, or an Adams?
Ooh. I'm going to let Jeff answer that one first.
A Clampett, a member of the Clampett family, a member of the Munster family, or a member of the Adams family?
Okay, so I'm gonna that was a tough one for a little bit, but like it's narrowed down to because the Adams and the Clampetts are rich, but I'd be closer to Ellie Mae, so I'd be a millionaire. Plus, I'd be closer to Ellie Mae, one of my favorite hot women of all time.
Yeah?
One of my so I'm gonna have to go right to the Clampetts' house and everything.
And it would be fun, and they
It
always
would
had
be fun. I'd
good
be,
victuals, and that great swimming pool.
Doggy. Oh, yeah.
All right, I'm going to have to say, without question, an Adams.
Yeah.
No question about it. 'Cause
Very eccentric, you know.
they're eccentric. They're fun to be around. They have a lot of weirdos that show up.
Yep.
Their whole world is in black and white.
Okay.
And Carolyn Jones just did it for me.
She was
As
smoking.
Morticia. She
Yes.
just did it for me.
Yeah.
But I would definitely have to be an Adams.
Okay. Quincy.
I'd have to be a Jet Clampett.
There you go.
Because, doggy. But of course, I'd use my money sparingly, and
But you're a billionaire.
I mean, you got more money than you'll ever need.
He'd be hanging out with Jethro. He'd be like Jethro's best friend and everything.
well, the thing about
You'd be Jethro's teacher.
well, the thing about the Beverly Hillbillies, I have to say, out of all those, when they bought Jethro a restaurant, but he didn't have a clue what the hell he was doing. But the Happy Gizzard,
Wasn't it a barber shop slash? Yeah, there were three things going on. There was a doctor slash barber shop slash bed and breakfast or something. That was it.
No, the Happy Gizzard was like Jethro's rundown restaurant. But of course, Jethro didn't know how to cook. Granny was like.
Okay, I remember the episode.
But you're talking about when they put in Mr. Drysdale's bank a barber shop, a dentist, whatever the hell else Granny would try to do, her doctoring. And Mr. Drysdale, he do everything he could to keep Jet Clamper there because he had 68.
Everything to keep the money in his bank for all 14 seasons or whatever.
What do you think about that?
Here's your choice for Possum Queen, Granny.
How creative was this show when you think about it?
And he's all the way.
I mean, the writing on that show, really. Like, I remember Granny being a doctor, and she had that little mirror on her head, and she had the white lab coat.
Who's the guy who invented? Was it Paul Hennig?
I have no idea.
I think that was the guy's name.
I just remember. Now, I would.
She say it right. She had her degree in doctrine.
Irene Ryan, but I would be with you. And here's why. Addams Family, they just didn't give a shit.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
They really didn't. Now, the reason, and I love The Munsters, because I think The Munsters is one of the funniest shows ever, written by the same guys that created Leave It to Beaver. The Munsters, there was too much heart. Like, they cared. Right. And they had worries. They had the Munsters
Herman
had worries.
had his heart on his
Of course he did, and they worried about they worried that they were cheating and stuff like that. Right. They had real marital issues. The Addams Family just didn't give a shit. It was their world, and you played by their rules. And as far as the Beverly Hillbillies go, I'd be too tempted with Ellie Mae, and I'd be older than her. Plus, I wouldn't want to live in California. But the Addams Family, it was their show.
Sure.
And like you said, well, who was the actress that played Morticia?
Carolyn Jones.
Okay. Have you ever seen Elvis Presley in King Creole?
I have not.
Yes, she was in that with the Elvis
She's gorgeous
Presley.
in it, and it's probably his best film. And you don't hear her spoken about a lot. Walter Matthau was in it. One of the not the Keach brothers. I'm trying to think. Who's the guy who got his head chopped off by the helicopter in Twilight Zone?
Vic Morrow.
Vic Morrow's in it. And it's a really good film, and she is in it, and she's hot.
Does she have the long brown hair, black hair?
I think she had a wig, but her hair was short. You don't like that.
No,
so.
I don't.
But she was.
Daisy Ridley's hair is short now, but she drives me crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah, you can always and you can also see Caroline Jones on the art episode of Bonanza or here and there and everything, playing an Indian squaw. Oh, yep. She's gorgeous.
Beautiful
in that
eyes.
too.
When she was dying of cancer, she was always on a lot of these 70s game shows.
Really?
She'd pop up on Match Game or,
I never knew that.
a bunch of these game shows. I think the last thing she may have done before she died was the Addams Family Halloween special. Do you remember that from 1970 something?
That,
I do.
This is Halloween, Halloween. It was it sucked.
But it was cool.
But it was in color, and I didn't like it.
I remember that. Yeah.
It was, and Wednesday Addams, the late Lisa Loring, was too old, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy the Addams Family movies with Raul Julia,
those are great.
Christopher Lloyd, and what's her name?
Angelica Houston.
Very good.
And very cool in person. I've met her.
All right, so that's that one.
I'm surprised I didn't get a slap in the face from Angelica Houston. I was like, because I met her at a dog show, and I was like, dog show, huh? Did you win? And she just looks at it. But I brought up her, her appearance in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, because she appeared in that, because she was going out with Jack at the time and everything, and her standing on the bridge when they were coming in her Argyle sweater. But if you got a sharp eye, you can spot her.
Isn't that funny?
Fantastic.
All right. Now, would you rather be neighbors with the Bradys, the Drummonds, or the Bradfords?
I know who I would be with.
Does everybody know those families? The Bradys, of course, you know. the Drummonds with different strokes, and the Bradfords would be the 8 Enoughs clan.
Right. I'm definitely going to be living next to the Bradfords because I loved Elizabeth.
Okay, there you go.
And I mean, and Mr. Bradford seemed like a cool guy. He may even had a little pull up his ass every once in a while.
Yeah.
But he seemed like a fair dad. No, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's two sides of a neighborhood. The Bradys could live on the other side.
That's true.
So I would want to live between the Bradfords and the Bradys.
Yeah. 'Cause did they ever say what town the Bradys lived in?
Yeah, they were in Los Angeles.
Okay, because the Bradfords lived in, I think, Sacramento.
And Different Strokes was in Manhattan.
Yeah, Manhattan. So if you had to pick neighbors, so purely for Elizabeth, no other reason, and Mr. Bradford being a cool guy.
Yeah, that would be it. I mean, the Bradys. I don't think my dialect would go over well in the Brady's household. Yeah. With the Bradfords, Tommy was always in trouble, and David was kind of like a cool guy drinking his beer, fixing his, Volkswagen Bug there, whatever he drove on the bus that he had. And they got into arguments.
Yeah, and Elizabeth.
And her long hair. And I'd be the one on the phone with her all the time.
She was always on the phone.
Oh, Connie Needham Newton, whatever her name
she
was.
was beautiful.
She was my favorite. Everybody liked what's her name on it? The girl from 1941, Diane K. She's a very good looking girl.
Well, blondes always get the attention.
But Elizabeth just had something. I'm sorry.
Beautiful girl.
I even said that when we met Willie Ames. I go, which one was your favorite? And he said Diane K.
Yeah.
And he goes, what about you? And I go, no question. Elizabeth.
This one right here.
Right there.
What about you, Quinn?
I'd have to say the Bradys.
Really?
Well, first of all, their music was good, because
you'd drop by the house, you think? You'd go over? Alice answers the door. Who are you going to ask for first?
Well, how about Greg? He wrote the songs of the Brady Bunch. He created the Brady Six, and once in a while,
So you go to the door. Alice answers, and you say, "Is Greg home?"
And as soon as the door opened, they had that music. Wah, 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 wah.
Here we go. No one does that as good as Jeff. I love that.
That would be that was what happened when Quincy would show up.
I would ask for Masha myself personally.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to lean towards Quincy. I'd live near the Bradys too.
Yeah.
I'd be chasing after Masha. I'd show up there with her.
Actually, recently I was just watching it on Me TV. It's the latter episode. Jan wasn't that bad in the fifth season.
No.
The long hair. I mean, she gave Marsha a run for money. As a younger kid, no way.
Yeah.
Cindy, forget it.
Yeah.
I'd go for Alice before Cindy.
Yeah.
You start to notice around the episode when they were at the amusement park.
I knew that was going to come up.
Yes, when she was running around and things are bouncing, and they got to get things. They got things back to the manager's office.
I can remember when we were kids. I had 3 sisters, and our parents would let us eat dinner in front of the TV.
Always WLVI.
And sometimes my mother would come in and have dinner with us. And do you remember, Jeff? There was a restaurant in Southie called the Seashell. Does that ring a bell at all?
Yeah.
Takeout seafood, yeah.
But it ended it closed down in 82.
Yeah,
but,
so it was great fried seafood dinners. And my parents would offer, they'd come in the beer can boxes, like the trays that would hold the beer cans, and they'd have the back, there'd be 6 dinners in there. My father would have his. He always ate at the table, but we'd always eat in front of the TV, and we'd be watching the Brady Bunch. And I can remember that episode being on, and my mother goes, "She needs a bra," and all my sisters started laughing. And that's when I realized for the first time, I said, "Oh yeah, those are tits."
Jan, right?
Yeah.
Because Masha had little perky ones.
Yes. Jans were like...
Yeah, Jans were flopping in the wind there.
I think Jan might have had banana tits, which could be erotic.
When it's time to change,
then it's time to change.
So, all right. My vote, believe it or not, I would pick the Drummonds.
Really?
Wow.
Because if I had them as neighbors, that means I could afford to live in that building,
in the
too.
penthouse.
And I don't know, it just seemed like I liked Mr. Drummond, and I liked the first maid, Mrs.
Garrett.
Mrs. Garrett, I liked her. I mean, Arnold and Willis just didn't do it for me, and the other
What
one
you talking about, Ricky?
Yeah, I mean,
Let's talk about Luz.
I mean, I would be friends with them, but then they kind of, as they got older, they got real righteous, and Arnold stopped being a cute little kid. He became like a real like an adult.
Would you hang with the Gooch?
Probably more than Arnold or Willis.
Right.
And Willis got a little too big for his britches.
Well, he was dating a Jackson.
Yeah. And if I was that age, though, Dana Plato was cute. I mean, Kimberly or whatever
she
the
was
hell.
okay.
Back in her day.
Yeah. So, I mean, and plus she had all those hot friends from school, Blair being one of them.
Oh, of course, yeah.
They might come over.
Eastland School. Now,
So
if you did
Stick around there for a few, and you could hang with out with Mrs. Adelaide, and you could.
Yeah, remember her?
Adelaide Brubaker.
With this like that real like jokey delivery, he just wanted to reach through the TV and strangle her.
And there was what was Pearl's last name?
Swig.
Hi. I forgot what Pearl's
I'm
last
not
name
sure.
was. But Adelaide Brubaker, because she also played Miss Tisdale on the Dukes of Hazzard, who ran the post office.
Okay, all right.
She was like a 400-year-old actress that's been around forever.
I mean, think about that. Like, she made a good career for herself. I mean,
In the late 80s or mid 80s?
Yeah,
she was
did.
on 2 hit shows.
wasn't
Well, if
sitting
you ever
home
seen the
getting old.
hit film Moving Violations, starring Bill Murray's brother, Dana Murray, but she had a great part in that. It was like her and the Where's the Beef lady, Claire Peller, and
my
everything.
God.
And they were like a comedy team of 2 old ladies, 2 blind old ladies and everything.
Is she
but-
the one that is like she's sitting in the men's
in the
toilet?
urinal, yeah. Why is my back all wet? But she had a few classic moments. In
I remember
movie.
that scene. For
And the
some
best
reason.
thing you could have done living next to the Drummonds is when he got married to Dixie Carter and they brought in the redheaded kid. What was his name? Danny Cookski?
Yes.
You could have hummed him off the balcony.
Yeah, and he had that hot mother.
Who, Dixie
wasn't-
Carter?
Wasn't she hot? Am I thinking?
She was on Designing Women.
I'm thinking of Jennifer Grey for some reason. All of a sudden, I don't
Jennifer
know.
Grey.
In the final season, it
Silver
changed.
Spoons. I was thinking of that.
It might
Erin
have been
Gray.
her,
Erin
right?
Gray. Sorry,
Yeah.
not Jennifer Grey. Christ almighty.
Because Sam's mother switched in the last 2 episodes.
So that was an interesting.
Oh, that's right. His name was Sam. That's right.
Yeah, Sam. There's another one. They made him into a little adult.
He was the new Cousin Oliver,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. And I hate that when they take these kids and they turn them into adults.
You realize there's only one person alive on that show? It's Todd Bridges from the original cast.
Wow, that's right.
He's the only one left.
That's sad. Arnold had it rough. What's his name? Gary
Coleman.
He had it rough.
Well, he did.
His parents stole from him and everything. I
Well,
mean,
all kids' parents that were in show business
but
stole
he
from him.
really got ripped. And then he was working.
Oh
as a
yeah, he was
security.
big in the they must have like spent millions on themselves and everything,
Yeah.
left him with nothing and everything. But who remembers the movie On the Right Track?
I do.
Yeah, like Gary Coleman lived in a locker.
And a train depot, yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't
think it was
Port
lived in a
Authority. It was Grand Central
Grand
Station.
Central Station. And the girl in it was the girl from Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, yeah.
And wasn't Norman Fell in that as well?
Norman Fell, I think he was the mayor or something like that. And like Maureen Stapleton was a bag lady.
Oh, that's right. She was.
Maureen Stapleton. That's Gene Stapleton's sister, isn't it?
Before she did Cocoon. Or she was, and she also played Johnny Dangerously mother in Johnny Dangerously.
Great actress. Great. That
but
was a great.
But I do remember that. Was that a movie? Was that like a made-for-TV movie?
That's a made-for-TV. That sounds like.
What was it again? I forgot what I was talking about.
On the Right Track.
On the right track. No, it was a movie. It came out in the theater and
really?
everything, but
Wow.
it flopped.
Did it come out the same time as like the Devlin, Max Devlin?
Yeah, something like that. It seems like 1982 too.
Yeah, it was
would be
somewhere in that,
release
sounds
date,
about right.
yeah.
that vicinity.
Max Devlin. I was thinking of Max Dugan.
Max Dugan Returns with Matthew Broderick and Jason Robards.
That's a good movie. That's one of my.
So you, the Drummonds.
Yeah, I would
Because
pick
the world
Drummonds.
don't move to the beat of just one drum.
Plus, I got to tell
might
you
be
right,
right
now,
for you,
in that
but
time,
might be right for
I love
some.
New York City, so I would definitely want to be their neighbor.
See, I've been to the Brady house. It's in a very boring neighborhood.
Yeah, see,
It looks like Winchester. There's nothing there. And the Bradfords, they lived in Sacramento, but I think the house was actually in Los Angeles where they filmed it.
If I lived near the Drummonds, I could go down to McSorley's, grab a few beers. I could go over to Katz's Delicatessen. I could go all those places. I could just walk around Central Park and everything.
You could.
Have a great time. Granted, New York City in those days was probably a lot more dangerous,
Especially Times
than it
Square.
was, and now it's dangerous again. So, but
Ooh, it's dangerous again.
it is. It's dangerous again.
Fantastic.
All right. So this is the one, my favorite one. This is the one I was most proud of
Okay.
coming up with, and we really got to put some thought into this one.
All right, hold on. Put the thinking helmet on.
All right. Would you rather work on the Love Boat, at Cheers, or for the Sunshine Cab Company?
Put on that thinking caps.
Ooh. That's a hard one,
You got the luxury of the Love Boat.
right?
You've got the warm familiarity and the friendship vibe of Cheers.
Right.
And you just got all the crazies and the great people and Elaine Nato at the Sunshine Cab Company.
Okay, I know my answer, but I'm gonna start off. You haven't started.
Okay.
We're gonna go with you, Ricky Bittman.
hands down, it would have to be Cheers.
Okay.
I love a good bar room. I love a good bar room where everybody knows your name.
And it's close to where you live.
Yeah, it is. And that whole thing and all the people on there. Plus, I'm going to tell you right now, one of the hottest women ever in television.
Please
to
do
me,
not say Rhea Perlman.
No. Whoever played Lilith.
BB Newirth?
Oh, man. One time she was trying to seduce Sam. You ever see that one?
You know-
she dances on the bed and she lets her hair down.
And she played Morticia on Broadway in
Did
the
she
Addams
really?
Family.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
Now, she's not looking... Oh, no,
She kind of...
again, none of us are. But still,
You may get this right, but she had the look. She could have been like Kristen Davis's sister.
definitely.
They had that vibe going.
But
there.
I never saw it until she was trying to make Frasier jealous, and she was meeting Sam in a hotel room. And
I
he was
remember
trying to
that.
and she stood on the bed,
crawling around and stuff.
and she was dancing, and she was putting perfume, and then she just let her hair down, and I was like, whoop. And I was like, but that aside, the whole thing, the rivalry with the other bar and the softball games,
Gary's Old Town Tavern.
Gary's Old Town Tavern and the Bloody Mary contest, because I love Bloody Marys. Plus, you get what was the magician guy that would come in every now and then and screw them over, the con man? What was that actor's name? He was great.
Oh, from Night Court. Harry Stone was his character on there. Harry Anderson.
Harry Anderson. I mean, just think of the characters that came in. And then you get the regulars. You got Norm, you got Woody, the coach.
What was Norm's first name?
Norm's first name?
Norm had a first name, and it wasn't Norm.
I don't know. Oh, wasn't it like Julius or like
Hillary.
Hillary. I was going to say a female name. Hillary. Oh, my God. I want to go home and
Hillary
watch
Norman
right
Peterson.
now, I'm telling you. So that for me would definitely, like Cal Yastrzemski came in there one time.
Everybody came in there.
In Wade Boggs.
What about the crossover on St. Elsewhere? Remember the episode of St. Elsewhere? It was they went to Cheers.
Yeah.
And Carla was giving him shit. It was Mark Craig and
I never saw this
Norman
episode.
Lloyd and Ed Flanders.
I never saw
Or Ed
it.
Landers, whatever his name was. The guy who blew his brains out.
Oh.
So which means that Cheers and St. Elsewhere all took place in the autistic kid's head.
Yeah, that's right.
So think of that.
Wow. I still would rather work at Cheers.
Okay.
Now, again, it's work.
It's work.
So I would be a bartender there or a waiter.
Right.
But I would like to work at Cheers.
All right. South Boston Jeff.
Well, you're probably going to be surprised, but I think I'd take all the free travel of the Love Boat. Yeah, like I'm not a really a fan of the crew of the Love Boat, but I'd meet a lot of interesting people, and I'd get to see a lot of interesting. Because I really thought about Taxi. I really thought about the Sunshine Cab, but that means I would have to. Louis De Palma would have to be my boss.
Right.
Yeah,
Think of the
but
hot chicks on the Love Boat, too, man. It's
Oh
always-
yeah, no, certainly.
that's a good choice.
I could have got. I can be going after Charo when she's
Yeah,
in her
oh.
prime.
Coochie.
Yeah.
And you
All
get Bernie Coppell would be a doctor, and you could get him to talk in that German accent from
Oh, yeah.
Rogan
Chaos.
Zeros.
No, get
yeah,
smart.
so I'm gonna go with the Love Boat and everything. Free travel, free food.
What job could you see yourself doing on a cruise ship? Like stand-up comic?
well, like yeah, sure, something like that. They already have a bartender, and I don't know. So I got some kind of entertainment and everything. Yeah.
Have you ever been on a cruise?
No.
So I went on a cruise one time with a bunch of buddies of mine, and we had maybe he was a cabin boy, but he was assigned to like a quadrant of rooms, and we were in the bottom of the boat. We were young kids, so we're going dirt cheap. And his name was Sebi, S-E-B-I. He was like an Indian guy. He was probably 28 or something like that. We were all in our early 20s. And he basically, if we needed something, we pressed a button, and Sebi would come and get towels or toilet paper or whatever you needed. But he stood in the hall for most of the day. And I talked to him one time, and he said they're not allowed up on deck. So we were on a cruise for a week. Not once did he ever get to go up on deck.
Wow.
You know?
Talk about a slave ship.
Yeah. But like certain jobs, you were, of course, allowed. I think cruise ships are a little different now, more so than they were now anyway. But
Well, I haven't been on a cruise since 2003, but
I haven't been on one.
we should all go on a cruise. Everybody on here with Restani Productions should go on a
God,
cruise.
you'd be wheeling my fat ass off of that. My God, the food and the drinks alone. My God.
All right, Quincy Briscoe, where do you want to work? Cheers, the Love Boat, or the Sunshine Cab?
Let's get some cabs out there.
Okay, but you don't drive.
Yeah, but I could inflate the tires. I could
man, he's
check
good
the
with
oil
cars.
in the cabs.
You could be Locke's assistant.
Yeah, I could Once more, remember the cabs start looking a bit shabby, but after Locker fixes them, I can take yellow spray bombs, make them look good.
Okay.
Check the oil in the cabs, like I said, inflate the tires.
Maybe clean the cabs like
Clean the cabs,
Travis
yeah,
Bickle used to have to do after a night of driving.
Make them smell good. Yeah, mechanics get good money for cleaning up.
They do. And Locker can't work all the shifts.
That's right.
Yeah, remember when they tried to fix Cab 804? They renewed, they fixed it, but the transmission gave away. I'd be semi-realistic. I think Louis the Palmer and I would get along just
I
great.
think so.
Oh, I don't think so at all.
No?
Sure he would.
Briscoe.
Yeah, I
That'd
think
be a
Louis
great-
the
that would be a
Palmer
great
and I
matchup.
would. I think we would have
You
a
could be
good.
that guy in the cage with him. What was that? Jeff was his name?
Jeff, yeah.
You could be that guy.
You don't think? Hey, Louis, Briscoe. Yeah, why don't we just
Call out some names and some cab numbers.
All right, Cab 804.
Nato,
Nato, Cab 803,
Danza.
Banta, Cab 803.
I said Danza.
802.
A lot of 802s, 803s, 804.
Yeah, and just pick it. I'm just screwing around with numbers. Tony Banta, 031. Yeah, well, and I can remember when he was mad at pissed off at someone. I'm gonna get you the dirtiest, smelliest cab there is. If it isn't dirty, smelly, I'm gonna get in a dirty and smelly that myself. When he was pissed off at someone, when you just. Louis and I, we get along good,
I think they would. I think they would.
I think they would. All right.
and it's funny, as you're saying this, I was just thinking, I was watching a clip on Instagram the other day, somebody posted of Ted Danson was on.
As the hairdresser.
As the hairdresser who chopped up Elaine's hair.
I can't do cab drivers.
Exactly. He was like sitting there all, and he goes, she might be better than you, but I ain't. And he poured
the shit on top of
dye on his
A lot
head.
of people from Cheers got their start on Taxi.
Well, I'm only remembering Ted Danson right now. Who else?
Norm was the exterminator.
That's right. Okay, I remember that.
Rhea Perlman was Louis' girlfriend,
That's right.
Zena Sherman.
Zena.
The show was created by the same people.
Yep.
I'm trying to think. Was there anybody else on that? I'm going through my. And I don't think anybody else was a guest star on there.
Interesting.
You know what? Listening to all of you, you probably think I'm going to say Taxi.
I would have bet my life on it.
No, I mean, unless I was a cab driver and you could drive around New York for like 12 hours, like Louis would be a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't work for the guy.
No.
Because he was just Louis De Palma.
Yeah.
Nato, you'd probably get arrested for just, drooling and whatnot. I'm going to say The Love Boat.
Okay, I can see that.
And the reason I'd say The Love Boat, not because of the travel, because I get seasick and whatnot. Every week you have new celebrity guests on.
Yeah.
And people from the Sunshine Cab could be on there.
That's true.
People
That's
from
true.
Cheers could guest star on it.
There's always a parade of hot chicks.
There's always a parade of hot chicks on there, and it's
the
just
Dallas cheerleaders, maybe.
Oh, I remember that.
But if I had a job on the boat,
Yeah, now what would you do?
let's see here. I would. You know what? I would probably say
A bartender?
no. I would probably have to be.
The bingo caller?
Well, it's a good job. You know what? I would say I'd work as a chef on there.
Beautiful.
Yeah, there you go.
I like that,
Yeah, a fine chef he is in person. So that
cooking, giving in the food, and of course I would have to be able to sit at the captain's table every night
yeah.
because I may prep the food and whatnot. I wouldn't be serving
You
it.
belong
No.
at the captain's table.
Well, I'd be hanging around with Captain Stubing and playing cards with other people on the show and whatnot, and it would be fun to be on the Love Boat because you'd have every week you have an influx of new people.
I could see all three of them, to be honest with you. I could see myself working at the Sunshine Cab Company because I could do that for a living if it paid well. I definitely could see myself on the cruise ship because, like the reasons both of you mentioned. But just something for me would be the familiarity and the homeliness.
Here's a perfect world. I would cruise on the ship in the summertime.
Yep.
All right. I would work at Cheers in the winter because I'd love to watch the snow fall
Very
from
nice,
down
yeah.
below, and you
That
can
always
walk
is
around
cute.
the common and whatnot.
Very nice.
And I would say springtime and fall time, I would moonlight as a cab driver at the Sunshine Cab
That'd
Company.
be a nice life.
That would be a great life.
It really would be.
All 4 quarters of the year are all blocked out. Yeah. I always thought they should have done a crossover between Taxi and Cheers.
Yeah.
I always thought that Christopher Lloyd guest starred on this, some wacky painter and whatnot. One of the things that which brings us up to Blizzard is Louie and say Jim or Louie and somebody were out and they got lost in the blizzard. They ended up in Boston. And the only place that was open
was Cheers.
Yep. And they went down, and can you see Carla and Louie going at it?
Yeah.
That would have been awesome.
Oh, that would have been great.
That was the one thing I always would have thought that would have been a perfect crossover.
Yeah.
Would have been Taxi and Cheers.
And just think of all the new patients Frasier would have to handle.
Judd Hirsch should be in there as Alex Rigger.
Andy Kaufman alone.
Can you imagine, Frasier down there with his pipe and whatnot, and then Jim coming in and having a conversation, and he would just
That would have been awesome.
check, please, I'm out of here. But that would have been. I thought of that when I was in high school because I did
That's a great idea.
I did my high school senior paper on Taxi.
Really?
Yeah, my English teacher was cool, and he said, "Pick anything you guys want to talk about, write about. You can talk about, favorite musician, whatnot." And I wrote about Taxi, and it was, but the title of the thing was "The Poor Man's Limousine" or something like that. And in my mind, even in that paper, I talked about the crossover.
That would have been awesome.
Between Taxi and Cheers.
I could definitely.
I wish that would happen. I wish James Burrows or M. Brooks or whatever his name is.
James L. Brooks was it?
James L. Brooks, but it was Jim Burrows who directed all the episodes of both shows.
That is one of the names Elvis Presley used to check in hotels under. James Burrows. He used to use that as one of his aliases.
Did he know the guy who created Taxi?
I don't know, but that was one of his aliases. He had a bunch of them. That's
maybe James Burrows is Elvis.
Yeah, it might be.
You never know. He gave Andy Kaufman a job.
He's definitely that was definitely one of the
Andy
names.
Kaufman did hunt him down that time and everything at the hotel. Maybe he knew that. James
Now, have you ever you've been to the real Cheers inside?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
I've only been there once. It looks nothing like
Nothing
it.
whatsoever.
Nothing like it at all. I mean, we've driven by it. I mean, people get jealous.
Yeah.
That show is so beloved around the country.
Yeah, yeah.
And when people know that we're from this area, they're like, "How far away from you from Cheers?" About 10 minutes. Prove it. So I've had to run down there and take pictures and show them and whatnot.
Our buddy Doug Palumbo and his wife visited there a couple of summers ago, and I don't know if he was so much disappointed. I think he knew not to expect it to look that way. But they did build a replica of Cheers over in Faneuil Hall.
And they built a replica upstairs in Cheers as well. They moved the one from Faneuil Hall. It's upstairs.
Oh, okay, so it's still there.
Yeah, it's up there.
Oh, shit, I'm gonna have to check that out.
Now, when I went to New York, they sadly tore down the Dover garage, which was the exterior for the
that would have been
Sunshine
something
Cab.
to see.
I started going down there in the late '80s, early '90s, and it was already gone. I was pissed. I wanted to find that, but I
That
never
would have been
could.
something because there's a lot of that out on the internet now. People go into movie sites and stuff like that, taking pictures, and they show the old picture versus now.
But I've been on the sound stage where they filmed Taxi at Paramount.
Really?
It was actually the stage where they did Frasier.
Ah, cool.
It was so Cheers had just ended. It was 1993, and I went to the Paramount studio tour, and they gutted Cheers and they built Frasier. But they gave us a history, and they said, well, also Taxi filmed sometime there. It wasn't all the time because Cheers and Taxi were on roughly around the same time for 1 year.
Yep.
It was the 82-83 crossover.
Boy, those were good times.
And I was just like, I touched the building. It's like, this is where Taxi took place.
Great show.
I met everybody on the show except Andy Kaufman.
And so you met what's her name?
Well, Mary Lou Henner?
Yeah.
Oh, several times.
We even ran into Carol Kane.
Carol
Really?
Kane. Judd Hirsch wasn't really the friendliest guy in the world. Jeff Conaway, we met him at a convention, and I told him that I was going into New Manhattan that night to see Christopher Lloyd. He was on Broadway. And he goes, "Oh," he goes, "Give me," grabs like a pen, and he wrote down his home address, his phone number, and all that stuff. He goes, "Please give this to Chris Lloyd." I never gave it to Chris Lloyd. It was around the time when cell phones were first new, and I knew he was still in New Jersey at the convention.
Yeah.
So I took off my little flip phone and called and left a really long phone message on his answer machine as Macho Man Randy Savage.
You really did this?
God's honest truth. I told him we were going to be working the $25,000 pyramid together. I did the same thing to Greg Brady. But
And it's so crazy that people believe it.
But Greg Brady actually answered the phone. My friend worked at Dollar Rent-A-Car over at the airport back in the early 90s.
Oh, my God.
And Barry Williams was in town promoting something, and he rented a car. And my friend used to give me all celebrity addresses and whatnot. And he goes, "Hey, this is Barry Williams' home phone."
Oh, my God.
And I called it once, and it was an answer me. He goes, "Hello, you've reached Barry Williams Enterprises," or whatever it was.
Barry Williams Enterprises.
So I was like, okay, this is real. So a couple of weeks later, I waited, and I called, and he answered the phone. Barry Williams Enterprise. Barry speaking. Barry, yeah, brother. And he's like, who is this? I go, yeah, Randy Savage, WWF.
Who is this?
And he's like, can I help you? And he goes,
Danny Partridge.
He's like, yeah, my manager told me to give you a call because you and I are going to be doing the celebrity guest on the $25,000 pyramid, brother. And he's like, I don't want to be rude, but my agent has not told me this yet. And I go,
that is priceless.
you better get on the phone, brother, because it's happening in 2 weeks.
Dude, you should have recorded this.
I had no way of doing that.
Oh, that would have been
But
something.
the Jeff Conaway one I did, that was in 2000. I'm going to say either 2000 or 2001.
Imagine him calling WWE. I can speak to Macho Man, please.
But I'm sure that what's his name, Jeff Conaway went home and you have one message. Yeah, we did the whole same spiel with him as well.
That is one of the best stories I think I've ever heard.
God's
in my
honest
life.
truth.
Oh, that is awesome.
So Barry Williams, if you listen to this out there, I wonder if he, next time I see him, I'm gonna go. Macho Man wrote in his book that he called
I
you.
ran a red light to get to my manager's house, and I killed a girl that night.
And he was like, "Wait a minute, is Dick Clark even still alive?"
This doesn't sound like Danny Bonaducci.
So I have crank called Barry Williams and Jeff Conaway.
That beats my
As
large
Randy said.
Criazzo cone so sage story I was telling off the air tonight.
Outstanding.
Yeah, that is. So that's it. I kind of threw that together.
Those were fantastic
Yeah,
questions.
makes you think a little differently, so we'll try to put those things.
It makes you think a lot differently over there.
I think it's fun.
It was. And can I add something, a little footnote?
1,000%.
All the listeners out there know how much I love Tubi. This is probably before you guys' this time, but Quincy, you might have watched this. Today they released on Tubi season 1 of Speed Racer. Remember Speed Racer?
I used to watch it
Here
on.
comes Speed Racer. He's a demon on wheels.
So you can relive Speed Racer on Tubi, one of my favorite streaming
I finished
services.
Too Close for Comfort on Tubi.
That's right. I gotta start
I've seen
watching this.
probably one episode of Speed Racer. Then they made a horrible movie. But one of my favorite nods to Speed Racer is in Pulp Fiction. What's his Eric Stoltz playing the drug dealer and everything. Sported a Speed Racer shirt.
I had that exact same shirt before Pulp Fiction came out. I used to wear that shirt.
Now,
Exact
Speed
same-
Racer was on Channel 25, if I recall. Jeff, you would probably remember
It
this.
was on 56.
Was it
Channel
56?
56.
I'm
Channel
sorry, 56.
Yep.
I wasn't into it.
I loved it for
I
some
was watching
reason.
Battle of the Planets and
Yeah.
Star Blazers.
See, I like the stuff more realistic, and I just thought Speed Racer was good, and the Mammoth car especially. That's like one of the best episodes.
Who was in the bootleg movie that they made in the 90s?
Wasn't the guy from Lost? I think he was in it. He was Racer X. I don't know.
That kid who was in Teen Wolf 2, I think.
Yeah.
What's it?
Jason Bateman?
Was it that kid? I think it might have been.
I've never seen it. I think I watched 5 minutes. I know Christina Ricci was Trixie.
Yeah, she was. She
Yeah.
was.
And then they had, but I just said it's not, the animation of the original, that Japanese animation, and I don't know. I used to love watching Speed Racer when I was a kid. I used to watch it with my buddy Dennis Riley.
The movie is great to watch when you're high.
Yeah, I bet.
And
Visually.
Here are the cast of the fascinating movie. It was Emil Hirsch who was
Oh,
Speed
that's right.
Racer.
That name
No
sounds
relation to Judd.
No, he was in the movie Milk. Remember the movie with the one with Sean Penn?
Sean Penn, yeah.
And he was also in the movie The Girl Next Door, where the porno girl moved next door.
Now I see his
yeah,
face.
yeah,
Now I
yeah.
can see his face.
And Christina Ricci was Trixie. Susan Sarandon was Speed Racer's mother.
Okay.
Anybody else? John Goodman was in it as Pop Racer.
Okay, it was Pops. Yeah, Pops was a big dude.
There's
Who was Racer X?
Racer X would have been Matthew Fox.
Okay, yeah, he was the guy from Lost. Racer X was such a great character, too. Back in the 80s, they came out with a comic book dedicated to Speed Racer, and then they did a spin-off of that, Racer X. Because Racer X was, I don't know if you know this, but Racer X was Speed's older brother.
Really? I was never a fan of this.
But that was the mystery through the whole show.
Ah.
The announcer would let you know that it was Speed Racer's brother, but Speed never found out, I think, until the very final episode, that all this time, the mysterious Racer X, who helped him out on many occasions, but was also considered a nefarious racer who cheated, was in fact his older
So
brother.
Speed Racer was his real name. Speed Racer.
His name was Speed. Yeah. Well, that was the family name.
Okay.
He had a G on his crest. A lot of people didn't know what that meant, but that was the name of his racing team was Team Go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never knew that.
Yeah.
You learned something new here on the After Hours of TC Restani.
Mach 5. But that car was like the balls. It had the saws that came out and would cut through trees, and it had remember the homing pigeon that would the robot homing pigeon that would fly out of the thing and then
Yeah, a little
course.
electric.
jump.
Yeah.
Another.
Yeah. Great sound effects and
Go, Speed Racer,
Saws,
go.
Speed
I loved it.
Racer,
It was
go.
just a great. So anyway, if anyone out there listening, you want to relive your childhood, Speed Racer season 1 is available on the great streaming app called Tubi.
It's fantastic.
It is.
I watched the Doctor Who episode.
I love
where
it.
they were at the lighthouse.
Yeah.
What was that?
Horror at Fang Rock.
Yes, there you go. The Horror at Fang Rock.
Horror at Fang Rock.
I was watching that. And
That is comfort TV to me.
It is comfort TV. There was there's so much to sink your teeth into.
Yeah.
Like, how
on
about
Tubi.
the 80 movie Screwballs?
It's probably on there.
I watched the. This is going to blow your mind. I watched the movie called Spring Break. Did you ever see this?
I saw that in the
course,
theater.
All right. It was directed by the guy who directed Friday the 13th, Sean Cunningham.
Oh,
And,
did not know that.
But it was about, a teenage sex romp going down to Fort Lauderdale and whatnot. Do you remember when they did the belly flop contest?
Yes.
Okay, and OT or TO, whatever the guy's name was. He
Yeah.
was the hero, tough guy.
Yeah.
I think it was OT. He did the from the top of the palm tree.
Yes.
He beat a guy by the name of Gut. Do you know who Gut was? He was uncredited. I'm looking at him and go, how do I know him? And I stared at his face. It was Jeff Garland from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Get the hell out of here. Now I got to go watch that again. That is funny.
I'm looking at him. I go, no. And then I had to go look it up. I go, that's Jeff Garland.
Now, he's someone you're going to see at Chilla someday, and you're going to mention that to
Oh,
him.
yeah, definitely. I'm gonna have. Can you sign two Gut?
God, really those real sloppy wet lips he always has.
God, you saw Spring Break. But I was because you see faces in these movies from like 40 years ago.
Yeah.
There were nobodies then. He wasn't even credited in the movie, and he was on one of the most funniest shows in history.
I was remember last summer I was talking about this is actually a movie we should watch together. The roller coaster movie we were talking about last summer.
Right.
We were doing, and uncredited in that movie is a real bit part by Steve Guttenberg.
Really?
Because that came out in the late 70s, Roller Coaster, and he has a very small part, completely uncredited, but it was Steve.
He's
Guttenberg.
Mr. Positivity online.
Oh
now.
yeah, big time. I like watching his stuff.
I
It
mean,
has a nice message to it.
He's very good friends with my friend Elaine Ballas,
Okay.
who is an actress out in Hollywood that I met at the Back to the Future gala thing at the Hollywood Museum. And when we thought every time we were going to meet Steve Guttenberg, in my mind he was going to be Mahoney, a dick.
Yeah.
Totally the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
One of the nicest guys
Yeah, he was
in the
pretty
world.
cool.
And he still is.
And he still
apparently.
is. And he's very into his history and his family
His
history.
health. I mean, he's always walking.
And he's always
got the camera.
smiling
Yeah.
on his camera and whatnot.
And I love the videos. He goes in the ocean in the early mornings out there, and he's just like, you can tell it's ice cold, but he's like, just
Steve
loving
Guttenberg's
it.
a good guy.
Yeah.
They need to do they need to do a police academy before it's all
Well,
said and
one of
done.
these cookouts we go to, we got to watch.
Roller coaster?
No, the movie Jeff has.
Oh,
Nothing but trouble.
Nothing but trouble, and then we'll do Roller Coaster before the summer's over. We got to watch Roller Coaster because you guys would get a kick out of it.
I will enjoy that. What year was it?
I think 78 or 79.
So it was before he did Diner.
Yes,
Because that was like
definitely.
81, 82.
Yeah.
And he was also in the day
Oh,
after.
definitely.
Not the
He
day
was-
after tomorrow, the day after.
Now this was definitely one of his first roles ever. He plays a very small part.
Now, why did he? I mean, I can see why he left the police academy movies. No offense, Jeff, but
No, it's okay. It's okay. I mean, if you ever watch Police Academy 7, Mission to Moscow, you'll never want to watch a Police Academy movie again.
because he went off to do only like what was this big movie that he did? Cocoon.
Cocoon, yeah.
But that was still before the last Police Academy
Yeah,
movie. He
Yeah,
did
the 3 Men and a Baby.
3 Men and a Baby, 3 Men and a Little Lady.
That was kind of a little lift to his career. That was a very popular.
But then he just vanished. And he made a comeback in those really bad, like, Sharknado style movies, like Lavalantula
Yeah,
and all these other junk.
They scraped everybody up for those.
But he's too good of a guy to do that. I mean, he was very, very nice.
yeah. Well, you know what? Maybe some of these guys, they make $20 million and they figure, well, I got enough money to live the rest of my life. Why
Not anymore.
What? He doesn't have the money anymore? You don't
No,
think?
I'm saying $20 million living out in Hollywood.
Well, yeah, that's true.
So remember that schmuck that they gave us when they got rid of Steve Guttenberg? They gave us Matt McCoy.
yeah, Matt McCoy. You know who hates Matt McCoy?
Steve Guttenberg.
No. Counselor Troy from Star Trek.
Really?
She played his love interest in one episode, and every time she just rips him apart. Matt McCoy, she hates him. He's doing
funny.
like prostate ads now because he's so old.
Yeah, I see him all the time.
cutthroat
and everything.
business in
Yeah, see
Hollywood.
him and everything. And he was also the dad in the Rebecca De Mornay, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. I remember that.
I know who
he
you're
was in
talking
that.
about now. I know.
But yeah, he was that kind of like the replacement when they got rid of Steve Guttenberg. He played Eric Lassard.
Yeah, you can't
No,
replace.
Nick Lassard, Commandant's nephew.
Yeah, he was basically the Coy and Vance of the Bo and Luke. You know who else is doing these ads now because he's so old? You know, do you pee regularly in the middle of the night?
Who's this?
Is Cleon from the Warriors?
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Darcy something or whatever his name is. I'm like looking at it, I go, that's, Quest is a huge Warriors fan.
Yeah.
I had to take a picture. I go, who is this? He goes, that's Cleon.
I usually watch the Warriors this time of year, so I'm gonna have to be
August, I have to watch it in
When
August.
was the last time you watched the movie The Cable Guy with Jim Carrey?
That's been a while, but I was.
Remember the karaoke jam he had, and before he sang the Jefferson Airplane song, there was a dude singing the soothing sounds of rock. Ooh, that was, if you take a look, that was the dude from The Orphans.
Wow.
You see what you get when you mess with the Orphans. That guy
Wow.
pops up every now and then. There are always New York-based movies.
Well, he's dead now, that guy, because he was
Yeah.
in Crocodile Dundee 2 and whatnot.
No, he was in the first one.
First one?
Yeah. When Mick first got to New York, he was the first guy. He popped his head out of the limo. G'day, mate, Mick Dundee. He's like, hey, what's going on? Yeah, come down for a couple of days. Maybe I'll see you around.
That was a good movie, the first one. I like that.
It was.
Yeah, it never gets old.
No, and I was always a very strong supporter, or I was in the minority of The Cable Guy. I thought that was a funny movie.
It was a funny movie, directed by Ben Stiller.
Yeah, a lot of people I was like, no, it was funny. I thought Jim Carrey was funny in it. I mean,
I like those Jim Carrey movies where he's a goofball and
yeah. I'll tell you, I want to say, I was watching Dumb and Dumber one night, which I think is a great film too, and I like Jeff Daniels in it. And there's a scene where he's imagining his life if this woman was his girlfriend, and he's going on ski trips and everything. Do you remember the scene at all?
Yeah, and he gets that down and lights the fart. And,
but before he does that, which is funny, there's a scene where he's like sitting there and he just takes the bowl of peanuts. He just fires it in his face. And it's like, every time I see that scene,
the fight with the guy with the Chinese guy.
yeah, like that whole scene where he's imagining all this stuff. We're sitting there and everyone's laughing at everything he does, and he just grabs the dish of peanuts, he just shoots it in his face and catches 3 of them, and he just starts chewing.
Now, do you want to hear something that's really wrong about that movie?
What?
Someone posted, I don't know if it's true or not, but Jim Carrey got paid millions of dollars for that movie, and Jeff Daniels got $50,000.
I think that's true. Jeff Daniels did an interview recently where he talked about that, and he wanted to do that movie, and he said he was going to take that role at whatever cost.
$50,000?
But they were trying to talk him out of it because here's what he said. I just finished watching a series on Prime called American Rust with Jeff Daniels in it. So that's how this interview came on my radar. And he talked about, they were telling him, this movie is going to be career suicide for you. He says, but I'm already feeling like I'm at a career suicide. I can't seem to get anything going right now.
Someone's knocking at the door.
I can't get anything going right now. And he says, I don't know what I'm going to do. He says, but my whole career is very stale right now. And he says, I want to do something. He goes, tell you what, guys, if this flops, it's my mistake, not yours. So he said, I'm just taking it no matter what. So, and that's why he got it. And it kind of brought his career back.
It kind of did. Yeah. Well, I'm getting through the earpiece. That was Abby knocking on the window.
Oh,
over there.
really? What the hell is she
we have a meeting we have to go to, and so we have to wrap things up.
I'm not going to that meeting.
Well, you have your cup, so you're all set. So wrap it up, Quince, because we have to go to a meeting.
Well, thank you for watching this very interesting episode.
Thank you for listening.
Yes,
And we hope to see you again on another very interesting episode. So please drive home carefully. And remember, we never close.
Ghost.